Kia ora viewers, and welcome to July's Earth Prediction video series. I trust this video catches you all fine and well. Thanks for tuning in to watch this series. I won't go over too much of June's video because I'll put a link to the video below. All the annotations were in place. It showed a lot of accuracies again, as the whole system seems to have been doing. The main error that I could pick up this time around was I suggested that India could have heat wave problems when in fact they had dreadful monsoon issues that have been cataclysmic for the country. The heat wave issues in fact ended up being extremely high heat wave conditions in America. So those two events were a little bit switched over. Retrospectively I had missed that in the reading. So anyhow, moving into this month's reading, the first card we have here is the Union card. So the first card we have there before us is the Union card. Now this card, they're all powerful, but this one has quite a lot of powerful meanings to it, and they're not just geographical meanings. They go quite a bit deeper into the whole spiritual essence of us as well, and we can see that with the chalice, which we often associate with spirituality or religious perspectives. The Union card in itself, the meeting of two forces that come together that merge as one. Now if we take it from the meteorological or physiological aspect, we can think of massive water coming down, so really big storms again with this Union card, and also falling objects, because look at all the rocks falling through this and this almighty surging in the middle where they meet. So, you know, we're not going to see change to do with our erratic weather patterns on the planet. We are seriously in a climate change. So when I first started doing these videos, I did it with the thought in mind that we would do an Earth predictions, meaning the planet Earth. And even through the period of time that I've been doing these cards, and if you've followed this particular series, we've noted an increase in climate change weather patterns that are exhibiting themselves, and they are extreme weather conditions that are resulting on our planet Earth. Now not a lot of that's going to change anymore. It's almost pointless, I guess, doing these readings, because pretty much every month we're going to come up with the same issues. We're going to get issues of flooding or extreme heat or extreme fires or dangerous cyclonic weather patterns all around the Earth. We are in a period of galactic change, that being part of the galaxy we're in, the Earth is also in that cycle, and we are being affected. I notice too now we're seeing the major governments around the world have altered the term that they used to say global warming. They've now just switched it all gently in without actually saying to us why they've changed it, but they now denote it as climate change. That is a more accurate scenario of the situation that is occurring on this planet. But we are in a climate change situation. We alone as humans are not going to make the modifications enough that will alter it. Sure, we can do more to be more resourceful on the planet. We can cut down on our carbon emissions. We can create less waste, and we can recycle more, and we can be more energetic about the way we treat the planet, and we can be more harmonious towards it. But we aren't going to stop change or the cycle that we're currently in. What we need to learn to do are find ways of working with it and restructure ourselves so that we're not affected to such large degrees. Anyhow, going back to the Union card, some of the other things I see with it, and I've mentioned falling water, heavy water systems, heavy rain systems, rocks, space rocks, asteroids, meteorites, that type of thing. We're seeing more and more of those. And also if we go back to the chalice, we see it as a biblical reference or a spiritual connections. I still get the feeling that we've got to be looking to the stars again this month in July. And interestingly enough, a astrological prediction that I follow, or a forecaster, his name is Carl Baudrell, he's listed that on July the 29th there is from 7 a.m. until 12 p.m. there is a very unusual formation that takes shape astrologically amongst the planet lineup, and it is called a diamond tetrahedron, which is similar to Metatron's cube, or if you want to do that, take it further, that's broken down to the fruit of life, or the 5 platonic solids, which are key sacred shapes, which are the building blocks of life, which in turn are the formation of DNA, the Vesca Pisces, the sacred shape, where the centre of 2 circles bisect each other, creating new life. Now that actual situation appears in our skies on July the 29th. So I get a feeling that again we are going to have a fairly profound month of planet lineups, indicators in these stars and the astrology predictions and the weight of them upon us as people on the planet, as well as the planet stresses itself. I think we're going to see we're in a period of moving or merging together of paradigms, thoughts, religions, technologies, politics, and that's not going to be an easy transition for us. It's hard to make such big changes, but this is how we're headed. This is where we're all going on this planet, in this galaxy, at this point in time. So it's all about change. It's no longer life as you know it. It's life as you don't know it. And if you're not going to be on board for that, it's going to get tricky and rough and hard to ride. So you have to dig deep and pull things up to move forward. Anyhow, moving on to the next card that arrived in this reading is the Death card. The last time that came, we had the uncovering of the Ohio kidnapping issues with the Ariel Castro. There was a lot of darkness involved in that whole thing. That was just really, really profoundly creepy that he got away with that for so long. So another thing that we pick with the Death card is mass deaths, also bunkers. We had the Oklahoma tornadoes where we had the death of the 7 children when the last time the Death card was out, and those children died in a bunker at school. So I say not just hunkering down but bunkering down. Are we going to see more of those issues around? We could get a major global death that sparks a feeling of darkness, or emotional darkness around us. We can also have, this is another storm sign, power outages yet again. And we get the feeling of war-related energies because of the poppy fields. So I still think of soldiers and war-related issues. The next card that came was the Skills card. Again, we've had this recently. I still think of falling objects. So we've got 2 cards now portraying falling objects, which I often think of as planes or rockets or satellites, missiles, meteorites, asteroids, watching the skies. So again, we're talking about watching that planet lineup. It feels quite strong in July. The skills also indicate perhaps mass events that can occur in countries that are quick to be able to facilitate rescues or putting in place relief systems around it. So quite often Western countries or countries that have good backup systems in place, so there could be issues in those countries. And interestingly enough, at the moment there are a lot of mass military drills going on around the globe. I don't know what that's all about, but there seems to be a gathering together of military forces for one reason or another, so that might be something worth watching. The next card that arrived is the Moon. Now, interestingly enough, we're in July, we're in the astrological sign of Cancer as well. So happy birthday to all the Cancerians out there. I hope you have a lovely July. I don't think that card means just that, obviously. So when we see the moon, we think of the moon specifically. We've got a big full moon coming in July, and it has a blue moon attached to it. But in June, we've just had the super moon for the year. So I'm not sure that it's just about that. It could be issues to do with the moon. Maybe more asteroid hits or something along those lines, or some information that we gain about the moon. Also animals in the reading. Maybe mass animal die-offs or issues to do with animals. Water, most definitely water, the seas, the oceans. That moon card, I think of the Tropic of Cancer, so possibly some sort of either storms up through the Tropic of Cancer or volcano or earthquake related activity through that belt up around there. The next card that arrived was the Friendship card. It's a little bit of a hard one to try and work out, the Friendship card, but I think of hidden agendas. We have the animals again here. I think of talks or discussions, so maybe some government or political or countries meeting together to do talks and discussions. But there's often a hidden party, there's another person or issue related in the background that isn't being shown fully, so it's as if we don't see the full picture all the time. I sometimes think of crops and food issues when this card comes out, as well as drug related issues or alcohol related issues that affect us, our ideals about them, our thoughts or belief systems, and also athletes possibly in the news for the month of July. The last card we have here is the Cave card. You know, this card also came out when we had the Sandy storm and when we had the Sandy Hook shootings. So we saw those as mass compassion events, and we also saw them happen in America. We also think of this one as really big power, so cyclonic power systems, hunkering down, being cut off, separated, power outages, big storms, hiding, underground, tunnels, the sea, again issues to do with sea encroaching on things, like your sea wall, noise, reversing of ideas or reversing of politics or power or something along those lines. And interestingly enough, Julia Gillard's just been ousted out of her Australian seat, and Kevin Rudd has just been put back in as the Prime Minister of Australia. So we've seen a whole lot of reversals already take place. I think the women's issues will still remain strong as the month goes through. Actually, I think that's going to continue globally for everyone on the globe. Females' rights, feminine issues, and reversals. Anyhow, guys, that's about it for the July reading. It's been a little bit of a long reading because we've gone into depth a little bit more about the astrological formation in the sky and the propensity or what that might have in store for us all, how it could affect us. So I hope you have all enjoyed the reading, and thank you for taking the time to listen to it. Be safe, everyone. Have a great July, and I'll catch you all again in August. Kia kaha, much aroha.